Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros, or in this case, Badge Bro today. Unfortunately, Nez taking care of a little bit of house stuff there, looking after his wife and stuff. So they're currently still waiting in an office somewhere, but I'm leaving the light on if he can make it through to join at any point in time. I told him to. But yeah, old school roto run, solo run today. Talk a bunch of baseball off the top. Happy Dinger Advancement Day, perfect game advancement, bunt, all the good stuff. Great time to be an MLB fan because we got all the advancement taking place today. Hopefully, everybody's got a little bit of sweat. We will look at mine in real time in half a second here. I have not checked yet, so this could be egregious. This could be ugly in real time on stream, but man, I hope Nez rolled some two-start Paul Skeens in his portfolio because he was all over that stuff there. Appreciate everybody jamming in the chat already. GM knew me from the air, he's saying. Had to buy the plain Wi-Fi just to get the content going. Appreciate you, brother. Love that. Numi made his return behind the paywall on Friday there in my absence. And I haven't been able to watch it yet. I had a really busy weekend, but I imagine he killed it as always. Before we jump into Dinger and all that sort of fun stuff, we got to start here. Our guy Paul, I was inverted, has a finished streak. This is the first of its kind in which I have seen. I've talked about how I want to do this as a community, all sweat this together and get through this. But let's just sweat Paul tonight. I can't wait to see what he chooses and hope he gets it done for the 10K there. An OG member of the community. I was inverted. Everybody remember from a couple seasons ago of NFL there, where he was plastering the leaderboard over and over again. I think he won 2 battle royales in the same season there and was all over it. Really legendary run. I think it was probably 2 years ago NFL, but here he is. Could be, dare I say, the first ever in Underdog history to beat the streak. So hope he's able to get it done tonight. Yeah, I mean, Lavalord saying, what a sweat. I mean, this is the kind of sweat that a community dreams of, right? So I want to get us streaking all together in unison. That sounded funny, Frank the Tank style. But yeah, I want to get everybody going in that direction. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's cool. We wish all the best in Paul's direction there for that one tonight, and I will start a new streak of my own shortly here. We'll jump in the pick 'em lobbies after we talk through the slate a little bit. But first things first, let's go straight to the platform here and let's do a real time update on my advance rates. I think when it was all said and done, I think I ended up with 92. I think the number was 92 dingers, and it was 4 or 5 perfect games, and that was kind of the extent of my MLB best ball exposure there. So I guess we could do it via results season. So it was 97 total drafts. There we go. It was 4 perfect games. It was 1 solo shot. It was 92 dingers. So we got 17 through 17 of 92. That is about 18%, 19%. Not terrible, not great. We can hit a reset on the exposures and see as to why. Perfect game. We got 1 bullet through here. Oh, our guy Jewish McCaffrey took this one down there. So we'll take a look at the 1 perfect game bullet we got going. Wheeler, Eflin just got traded. Hunter Green, Merrill Kelly, RIP. Christian Javier, RIP. Chris Sale, please save us. Alec Bohm, man, he aged well, did he not? Devers, Harper, Tatis, Jazz Chisholm being a nice pick that now has a little stackability with, unfortunately not on this team. This was clearly Marlins because I had Josh Bell there. Although Josh Bell got designated for assignment yesterday in the middle of his at-bat. something like that. One of the weirdest circumstances I'd ever seen in my whole life. Um, yeah, I imagine he ends up getting traded in the same capacity that Ty France just got traded, which kind of shuts the door on Christian Encarnacion Strand return this season, I think. That's how I read it. But yeah. All right. Oh, here you go. Best Ball Viper. Hey, shout out to Best Ball Viper who man, almost peppered the leaderboard, man. He duped himself a couple times. Whatever. He had I'll find the screenshot after in a second here. I retweeted it earlier, but I think he had like 20 bullets that were all tied for seventh with himself. It would have been a true alpha play there in terms of the RT99 that people always remember with the Adam Duvall stuff there. That would have been truly incredible. But our guy Mike Zakarian, after coming on the show talking a little hoops, he ends up taking down a couple times. Yeah, 13 times he duped himself. Thank you, Sam. A couple. Yes, a couple is generous. There you go. Duped himself a couple times. He duped himself 13 times. What a fucking savant. Oh, I love that. Yeah, but Mike Zakarian comes on and finishes second in that contest. So big shouts to him there. I think he was a Brent Rooker steal or something away from taking it down. So proving himself as a multi-sport draft lead. Love to see it. Yeah, let's look at the exposure real quick. I don't want to make this all about me, but yeah. So the Mike Trout and the Isak Paredes were kind of like the stances. Bryce Miller, that one ended well. Jordan, Christopher Morel, man. It's kind of funny that both my guys got traded for each other this weekend in Paredes and Morel, and they couldn't be further from one another in terms of like peripherals versus actuals this season. Like Isak, you just jump in because of the pull side power, but like the barrel rates and the hard hit rates are like way down compared to last year. Whereas Morel, you do the same thing. It's pull side power that you're looking for and whatnot, but all the barrels and all the hard hit rates are up, but the results aren't there. So very interesting to see those two get traded for one another. Yeah. Some of the pitching aged well for me though. Like, Bryce Miller was underpriced. Rodon, I thought was underpriced. Brandon Pfaadt, former top prospect. Evaldi's been pretty hit or miss, but like he definitely has some ceiling outcome stuff. Hunter Green has been a smash. Dylan Cease has been a smash. Scherzer coming back as an 18th round pick. That's a smash. Erie got hurt before the season. Joe Ryan's been pretty good. Grayson's been good. Wow. I'm not going to lie, guys. Might have fucking nailed it on the pitching front. Wish all of this Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell was Shota, but pitching turned out quite well for me. Infield here, I'll never let Nez talk me into anything ever again. Brian Hayes as those back stacks, but got some Seager stuff going on. Bo Bichette's aged poorly. Yeah, infield was kind of a killer for me. Like this doesn't look great outside of the late McMahon stuff. Jake Cronenworth, who I was fucking pumping everyone to get on there as an 18th round pick, both him and Ryan Mountcastle. Although it looks like I didn't end up with a ton of Mountcastle for whatever reason. Did I miss him? Surely I had more Mountcastle than this. Only 6%. Oh, but 150. So I took him in the perfect games is what I did. Yeah. Not great. Devers is good. Ellie is good. Josh Jung just a flat 0. Cody Bellinger, Loki a 0 too. And then our guy Ton, 19%. Nolan Jones at 17 really killed us. Eloy, same thing. Taylor Ward, that's nice to see. Cheap Mitch Haniger did not work out. Jazz, hopefully this park transition can push us through here. 12% Judge, that's fun. Yeah, so we can take a look at what we actually have live now. We're going to have 18 teams by the looks of it. It is going to be, and then I guess 1 in the 7th inning. We only did 4 7th inning, and they were all on stream. Yeah, so we got 1 perfect game. We got 17 dingers. Yeah, more of the same here. Bryce, Rodon, Pfaadt, Cease, Kirby, Gilbert, Sale, Scherzer, Screwball, Frankie Montas, Flaherty. Hopefully he doesn't get traded because pitching in that park is great. Wow, Volpe, a guy that was not very highly drafted for me, but Volpe as a guy that I guess I was stacking with Judge because I imagine, yeah, Judge is my highest advancing outfielder. Wow, Lars Nootbaar as my second highest advancing outfielder. That's a little bizarre. Maybe he's the low owned guy you need. Lars Nootbaar. Holy. Um wow, getting 22% Josh Young through. Is he on track to resumes rehab assignment a day ago? Come on. Josh Young as the leverage piece you need in the finals. Who says no? Who says no to Josh Young, man? Oh man. Yes, Brad. Don't want to talk about Henry Davis or Cabrian shares. Yes, likewise. Sam asking where Skeens, no Skeens. I don't think I thought he was going to get shut down. I didn't think he would have this kind of impact. No Skeens through. Fake sharp. I am fake sharp. I was team what we saw last year from Hunter Green, and why am I blanking on the left-hander who throws hard? That was a young talent from the Reds as well. Okay, whatever. You know who I'm thinking of. Just in terms of like they weren't going to be in contention and they get shut down. Nick Lodolo, that's who I'm thinking of. Where they weren't going to be in contention and they get shut down early to, save him for the future. I just did not think that. Wow, Updog 16 Skeens bullets. That is bullish, man. Bullish Updog's portfolio right now because you get a 2-start week. Granted, not the greatest 2-start week in the world. He has to face the Astros tonight. We'll talk about that one. But yeah. John Carlson jumping in here saying first year doing the MLB best ball, 16 out of 45 dingers. Wow, very good, man. Very nice advance rate for first time through. Yeah, Woo Woo in lockstep with me that like 100% was on Skeens like that, especially when they treated him with kit gloves, man. They sent him down early in camp. They told us that he wasn't going to be breaking camp with the team. It was going to be backloaded production, but I guess it started off so well that now they're just keep going with it. Beastworth saying he's got a dead pitcher on probably at least half of his teams. Is that pretty common? I'd say given the landscape of pitcher this year, it's going to be more common than in years past. I mean, we can look at just like an example or two of my portfolio here. Let's see. We'll just click randomly on here. 7th dinger down. Click on this team. Yeah, I mean, like Gallen's just coming back. Nola's good. King's good. Okay, so that's a full healthy pitching staff. Let's see what we got. Let's go a couple more down here. Glasnow, Gilbert, Jose Barrios, Reed Detmers. I mean, that's healthy. Detmers probably won't pitch, but that's healthy. Let's see if we'll go one more here. See Scooble, Bobby Miller question mark. Will he be coming back? Hanging around AAA. Maybe he comes back up. We'll see. Wow. Just looking at like randomly clicking on 3, I'm quite fortunate so far to have some live not dead pitching. So yeah. Yeah, here, Mike, we give you a little shout off the top there. He is jumping in. He is currently a baseball guy. He's now a baseball guy. Love to see it. Much respect, man. That just it just proves, guys, man, like sharp dudes doing sharp drafting who follow the content, who stay in the cycle, and they get it done, man. It's just the names are different in each of these sports, but the correlation patterns and the paths to first are not that different, right? So, yeah. Okay, what do we say we jump into the slate itself today? Fun 8-game slate. Evergreen reminder to everyone that the MLB trade deadline official. This is not like the old school days where there was some waiver stuff that takes place after it. It is hard and fast like other sports now. It is Tuesday night, July 30th, 6 p.m. Eastern. So just want to remind everybody that today's daily slate and tomorrow's, we could see some trades. We could see some funky lineups, protecting guys that might be movable assets. We could see all sorts of little things like this. We could see players randomly lifted in tonight's game because they've been traded. So we just have to be mindful of that. So just look at some of the lists out there of potential trade candidates, like a Flaherty who's not pitching anyways tonight, but like someone of that magnitude. Luis Robert, one of my favorite bats on this slate. I got to temper my expectations a little bit because there's a non-zero chance he could be involved in a trade in the next, 12 hours or so. So just things to think through on a macro. If we want to get densely exploitative with our ownership portfolios, it's a high risk endeavor, right? It's a high risk endeavor. Yeah, here you go. MLB trade deadline swap time. Absolutely, T-Box. You know what's up. This is a vet who's been around the box. He knows it all too well. Shout out to our guy T-Box there, and shout out to the good people at Underdog with the VIP program. Saw he got hooked up over this last weekend there. Got to play 2 rounds of golf in Wisconsin. I can't remember the name of the course, but just evergreen reminder that you play a lot on this platform and you'll get rewarded for it, right? I mean, this is up only from here. Nathan alluding to the fact that today's BBM entry for me will in fact be my 69th, and we are going to do the 69th BBM on stream. I'm going to do a rapid fire of the slate. Very, very strange slate because we are missing some loaded bats at the top. You can see it reflected in ADP here. I mean, okay, let's talk about Bobby Witt Jr. for one hot second here. Bobby Witt Jr., AL MVP. How's that sound? I don't know, man. Judge, basically right-handed Barry Bonds for a stretch of this season. He's having an incredible year. Nothing to discredit. He probably deserves to be the MVP. But if he kind of, just runs the course for the next little bit here and kind of plays to his 2023, and it's a combination of them getting, Stanton back, and they get some Rizzo back, or they get, this lineup kind of works in tandem with Jazz Chisholm now being there, Soto being there, and it's kind of like a more team communal effort going forward. And Bobby Witt single-handedly wills his Royals into the playoffs and goes on this tear that he continues to have right now, leads the AL in hits, leads the AL in batting average, and drags that Royals team that nobody had expectations for into the playoffs this year. Bobby Witt Jr., AL MVP. I don't know. Non-zero chance, man. Non-zero chance. He is having a hell of a year. I still wish he had won the home run derby because face of the franchise type shit there when all eyes were on him, adjacent to his home city too. Anyways, yeah, but as you can see, man, we got Lane Thomas pushed up in the top 10 here. That's a conversation in and of itself, but not the typical names for an 8-game slate we're accustomed to seeing up in this upper echelon, because Astros are pushed down because they are facing Paul Skeens. And then there are no Dodgers. There are no Phillies. There are no Yankees. There is no Coors game all on this slate. And the best potential hitting environment is Great American Small Park. And they're 2 mid-ass offenses with some turnover. We don't know what we're going to get from the Cubs today. Is Isaac Paredes going to be in the lineup? He's not in the player pool, so it doesn't matter for us there, but it takes a bat that we could potentially be drafting out of that lineup there. Is Cody Bellinger going to be coming back from that for that same magnitude too? He could be a complete zero and or swap, or he could be, hitting 3 for them in a decent spot against Carson Spires. But it's a very interesting slate because that hitting environment that we'd want to get into with mid-ass teams has the worst weather, and it's the most likely to be postponed on the slate. So very, very tough slate to navigate right now. My knee-jerk reaction and instincts right now are Alec Marsh, reverse splits, getting to right-handed White Sox. Luis Robert Jr. is my favorite play on the slate thus far relative to ADP. I like Arizona right-handed bats too. We have seen the good and we've seen the bad from Mitchell Parker on the other side of that equation. I am leaning in to some of these Arizona right-handed sticks. We've talked about how that lineup performs better against left-handed pitching. Nationals, man. it feels like it should be a good spot going up against Jordan Montgomery, who has been a complete and utter gas can this season. They got some right-handed sticks at the top of that lineup in Lane Thomas and Juan Yepez. That's it. That's it, man. Everyone else that's a good hitter on their team is left-handed at the top of that lineup, right? So I'm not really sure what to make of this. My mindset goes Nationals are a fade based on ADP, and I'll just play the White Sox instead. I love left-handed Kansas City too, going up against Chris Flexen. Give me some Vinny P in my life. Give me some MJ Melendez in my life. Just a big fan of that. And then the Pirates going up against Floss. Another weird spot where Brian Reynolds could be hitting second in that lineup and in a really good spot against Floss today. And you want to get to the left-handed power at the top of that lineup against Floss in O'Neal Cruz plus Brian Reynolds. But Oatmeal is on the paternity leave, and he has done his first 5 days first 3 days. So he's eligible to return tonight, but it's not a given because he can stay on it up to 7 days. So it's like the bereavement list or whatever. Those are the rules associated with it. So very, very interesting dynamics at play tonight. Non-zero chance winning lineup has some swaps in it. Not going to lie. Once we get some of these lineups later in the day and get some of that information, or we get some potential weather concerns that keep condensing the player pool. So that's my macro thoughts on the slate. We can kind of do a rapid fire of, what we normally do here with the weather and the games and stuff. But I kind of hit macro what I like. I kind of like some contrarian White Sox right now. I like some left-handed Royals right now. I like me some cheaper Pirates. Yeah. I mean, Rangers are free. Rangers are free and not in a bad spot, but potential weather concerns. So potential weather concerns to highlight. Out of the 8 games on the slate, 5 of them have write-ups. That is never a great indication, though we always say Roth errs on triple condom side of caution with almost everything, or so is my interpretation of what he usually does. And I mean, rightfully so. Early in the day for DFS factors, it doesn't matter as much, but guys playing our game, this really matters right now, right? So just evergreen reminder. But yeah, this is scary because it's the best hitting environment on the slate without all those aforementioned lineups and parks in play that I would want to be getting to Cubs today. I would really like to be getting to Cubs, and it feels very shaky, but that does mean it will be more leverage over the field. So ape in at as you see fit kind of thing. I've only done, what have we done? 5 or 6 drafts thus far. Maybe not even that. I just banged them out this morning. Only done 3 thus far. 2 of them are Cubs lineups thus far because I like the spot if it goes, right? So we shall see there. The Boston Seattle one, good place for hitting, like just in general, and kind of good combination of guys who are super high variance and super like outlier results, right? So let's use Nick Pivetta as an example. Let me probably be easier to talk through as I bring this one up. Nick Pivetta, man, big strikeout upside. Mariners lineup completely watered down without Julio, maybe without Jorge Polanco, who has a Q tag today. They obviously made the Randy Rosarina acquisition, which is good for that lineup and good for that ballpark. But like this lineup does not look great, and they are lapping the field in strikeouts right now. The Mariners strike out more than any other team in baseball, and you have a high upside pitcher in Pivetta who strikes a lot of dudes out. That being said, we don't have many good hitting environments to go to. Right-handed power with that wall always plays good. So if you want to do like the Robles, Arozarena, Cal Raleigh from his wrong side, but homered from it yesterday at the top of this lineup, I can't fault you there. So this one feels like a game that you can get to both sides of, especially with the left-handed power on Boston as well, because Logan Gilbert, though a very good pitcher with decent strikeout rates, he has had some problems with left-handed power, and it's left-handed power that the Red Sox have in plenty, right? Like that's the best part of their team and best part of their lineup. So it's going to be a very interesting slate, especially if weather plays that we condense down to like 6 games. We're going to be talking out of both sides of our mouth. So when I look at a slate like this, I instantly think this is going to be a balanced exposure day for me. It isn't going to be hyper exploitative. It's not one that I can auto draft uh, to the best of my ability. Now, other people are going to try, and other people could do it very successfully. But my interpretation of this slate, when I look at this, is I can't get away with that today. I'm going to have to be mixing and matching more than I usually would because there are not tons of like slates that just there are tons of spots that are just jumping that I want to exploit over and over and over again. Um, Chris Air telling me that the Cincy game is yellow now. That's a very good thing for us. Love to see that. Thank you for the update there. Team Hold Mike asking, what's your typical volume for MLB? It fluctuates. Over the weekend, I was doing real life, didn't have a ton of time to play, but the last big slate that I played was the one that Nez and I both had a really nice day there and scooping that leaderboard. And I played 35 entries. I would say I'm kind of in the ballpark of 20 to 40 hand-built lineups a day for MLB. My volume will be higher for NBA and stuff that I feel more comfortable autoing. And football, it'll be higher because you have the whole week to draft. But I say my target benchmark is 35 drafts a day for MLB, just to keep a work-life fun balance. Because for me, these games, like as much as I love them, as much as I'm a hardo and I try hard at this, like this, it's not my main tertiary way of income. Isn't like, hey, I have to win a slate tonight. So like I still want to keep the hobby aspect of these games alive because they are so fun for me. And I'd say I've been erring on kind of like, it's funny, Nez and I have kind of flipped in this regard because when we both started playing and we both started playing on this site, I was the guy maxing every single night. And now Nez has kind of been the guy who maxes every single night. And I've kind of become like the hand builder, enjoying myself, love talking through it, love the content avenue associated with it. Yes, Best Ball Viper is indeed such a sicko because your volume is truly insane, my friend. Mad respect for all that you do out here. Mets Twins. Mets have been going good. Francisco Lindor, one of the hottest hitters in baseball, alongside Bobby Witt Jr. Their left-handed Jose Quintana, obviously not a great place to hit just in general, especially when without wind blowing out and with lower temperatures. Like, not that 78 is low, but like with lower temperatures than like the hot, humid New York stuff. But I will get to right-handed Twins. Royce Lewis back from the IL. He's going in like every single draft. I will be mixing and matching some Ryan Jeffers. I will be mixing and matching. Manuel Margot is like the number one pinch hit risk in this lineup. I will not be mixing him in, but I will do like, Buxton and Jeffers or like Castro and Jeffers. People forget all-star Willie Castro. But right-handed power is going to play well. Jose Quintana, good at mitigating power, just like in a vacuum, and like decent ground ball, fly ball guy. Like, yeah, I don't mind going after him. What's up, emo cowboy? Rolling through to say what up. Okay, this is going to be a game where I think we're going to get more of now as weather doesn't become a concern. We're talking about 80 degrees. We're talking about Great American Small Park here. 2 mid-tier offenses. We may or may not see Cody Bellinger in this lineup. We may or may not see Isaac Paredes in this lineup. So just all things to be mindful of. But as far as the Cubs go right now, Seiya Suzuki is basically the only guy who gets drafted. Carson Spears, like, not like awful, but he's been knocked around a little bit in recent memory. But he does have some K upside. Like, he had a 5-inning 8K start, I think it was 2 times ago. I don't have all my stuff pulled up right now because I just wanted to do this kind of like quick and dirty when when Nez isn't here to like bounce it off. It's kind of hard to do. Yeah, 5 innings, 9 Ks last time up, but still gave up 3 earned. He gave up 4 out earned the time before, and those were against some like not great lineups in Miami and Detroit. But he's like rejoining the rotation here. Those starts were a while ago. He's coming off the IL, so who knows if he has a full leash here. He could they could be just gearing him up for like 3 to 4 or something like that. I don't know what his rehab assignments looked like. That being said, it's just like a spot you want to get to inevitably, right? All right. Next one, man. Kind of going overlooked in my estimation is the Rangers right now. Corey Seager goes in most drafts, and then outside of that, like people are kind of like scared to get to them. They've burned a lot of people for a lot of times this season, so I get it. Another spot where you can like get to both sides. I think my favorite play in this entire game is Evaldi, though. I like Evaldi today. I think if we'll go back to the rankings for a second here and just look. They have Evaldi fourth in ADP. That seems fair to me. I mean, it's a very stars and scrubs kind of day. Like we talked about liking both sides of the bats and the pitching from this, which makes the Seattle Boston one weird, but it's like Skeens at the top in kind of like his own category as the 101. He's my 101 today, even though I think I like Bobby Witt's mean projection is probably going to matter more on this slate, but the outlier potential of Skeens breaking it is just like because of the landscape of pitching, it makes me want to like get to him, right? But it's a very stars and scrub because it's top heavy. Then there's this mid tier that I would classify as these three, which are like high upside, but like have volatility associated with them. And then this whole next grouping, you can just mix and match. Tyon, probably not a guy that I'm going to get a ton of today. Admittedly, I will just trade the ownership gap and I will just go down. I don't think we get a full outing from Carson or Grant Holmes. Like, I don't think they're in my player pool today. Bloss is not in my player pool today. Like, Colin Ray's low key had a really nice year and had some good starts recently. Like, non-zero in the K upside department too. Like, you want to mix it up, get to Colin Ray a little bit. Why not? Feels okay there. If you want to introduce some contrarian leverage, I mean, Jordan Montgomery, probably not the dumbest idea in the world. I'd rather play Jordan Montgomery than Cantana at ownership today. So I don't know. Like, is that smart? They're probably going to project similarly, but like in Cantana's probably the safer of the two bets. But I mean, just introduce a little variance in my life with Jordan Montgomery and get some leverage off who I think the most overpriced stack on the slate is in Washington bats being pushed up like this. So like get a little double bubble like that when we think through the game theory dynamics of this slate. But in a vacuum, I think maybe Colin Ray is probably a better contrarian option just without leverage. Our guy Nick dropping by to say what up. He's late for class, but he's still got to say what up. That's why I get suspended. I respect that, man. Appreciate you jumping by. What do we got here? T-Bear saying that Edmonds finally free and Lux's hitting Dodgers are about to blow. Interesting. So Tommy Edman just got moved? Is that what I'm hearing? Am I reading that through the tea leaves there? Gavin Lux was hitting third yesterday. If you want a little glimpse into how ugly things have gotten for the middle of that Dodgers lineup there. Yeah. Okay, let's jump back. Do some rapid fires on these notes and stuff. Yeah, go Lars Nootbaar for our dinger stuff, but don't love St. Louis bats today, but they do make sense. I mean, like, dude, like it's such an interesting slate because like everyone's just in this like mid fours range. Like you can literally justify playing everyone. You can justify it's a very ambiguous slate, like just in terms of like macro. I mean, I hit the stuff that I like the most, but yeah. Anyways, Brewers are considerably watered down without Yelich in the middle of that lineup there. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to Brewers here against Grant Holmes, who's probably not going to be fully stretched out to go the distance or go like the distance in modern baseball terms, like 6 innings there. Atlanta has a decent bullpen that you don't really want to be attacking, but I could see getting to left-handed power in this game, like, you know, using Jake the Rake Bowers or something like that in a mini stack would be fine. Ozuna goes quite high, but and Olsen does go quite high here. You know, Braves are disappointed so much this year. I don't really have a strong stance other than to say like I'll probably only use them as 3-mans in the same capacity that I'll use like I would rather go Luis Robert one off today than play Braves. Um that's just where I'm at thus far in looking through the slate. Yeah, which kind of pushes us in the direction of the next game there, where like White Sox and Royals are basically my favorite plays on the slate. This is kind of like where I've been going outside of the aforementioned Arizona stuff. I like it. Yeah, give me some of this right-handed. Alk Marsh being a reverse splits guy. Give me some right-handed power in the middle of this lineup here. Give me Robert plus Eloy. Give me Robert plus Pham as cheap stack backdoor outfielders, and then do like 3-man infield stacks. And these two teams actually pair well together there. Vinny P, if we go look in the pick'em lobbies in a second here, I think he's going to be our spicy home run pick. Him and Robert. I'll put those two together there, but it just feels. But evergreen reminder: right-handed power plays better than left-handed power in this park, and it's a park that plays better for scoring runs plays better for scoring runs than it does for power. So it's not like when you're aping into this game environment, I think you want to be stacking more so than one-offing. Wow, there you go. Here we go. Dan with some meta. As literally, our show is aging beautifully as we're fucking on it. We just said, hey, be mindful of the trade deadline. Be mindful of these teams where they're going to trade guys at the top of the order. Be mindful of. There you go. Beautiful. So Tommy Pham just got traded. So he's not going to be in the White Sox lineup today. He's not going to be in the lineup for anyone today. So that is some good meta right there. I hope Luis Robert doesn't get traded. I think he's young enough and the control is decent enough. I was looking at it the other day. I think they should trade Garrett Crochet. I don't think they should have pitched him yesterday. I thought that was kind of short-sighted, but I think they should trade Crochet and kind of like, yeah, Tommy Pham was like an easy one there. And Tommy Pham's really interesting that like nobody seems to want him when it's contract signing season. And then every single year he just performs well and yields assets, right? Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want that. Yeah, let me just see at the Luis Robert. Luis Robert has interesting. Okay, look at this. They're okay. So they've struck these out, like they've crossed them out, which I don't necessarily understand or know what that means. But it suggests he's not a free agent until 2028. But these are club options at $20 million, which are going to be screaming values in terms of like how good Luis Robert has been over the last like year and a half, 2 years, like 50 home runs, 40 steals, like that kind of shit, hitting in the middle of like a depleted and decrepit White Sox lineup. I don't know what kind of package you can put together to get Robert, and I don't know why, if you're a team that wants like young superstars, you're basically trading Luis Robert Jr. to hopefully get the next Luis Robert Jr. in who's age 20 right now. Like you're basically just trying to turn your clock back 4 years on him. I don't know. He feels like one that like he's just like too strong an asset to hold, like to give up on. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, T-Bear's telling me that Lux has turned the corner. Don't sleep on him. Retire your priors. Interesting. Okay. I'll look into it. I mean, I was shocked that he was hitting third yesterday when I saw that game. So, yeah. Matt's getting Flaherty. Ooh. I mean, dude, it's too bad Flaherty didn't work out for Baltimore last year. Why doesn't Baltimore just get Flaherty again, right? Yeah. All right. Chat's telling me he's been raking. Rotate your tires. Okay, that's a pretty good one. I'm gonna start saying that. Rotate your tires for when my takes are bad and I gotta fix them. Gotta rotate our tires, boys. All right. Yeah. Okay, Skeens. You can obviously get to Astros for leverage. You can get to Jordan just as a one-off because he's the cheapest he'll ever be, and there's no reason to think he can't just, run into 100-mile-per-hour fastball against Paul Skeens, but Paul Skeens has arguably been the best pitcher in baseball since he has come up. So it's not an overly desirable spot to get to, but if you want all the leverage in the world, and there's a team that can get it done with isolated power with, studs in the first 3 spots of their lineup, I will not fault you for getting to Astros today. It's not a spot that I love. I will be playing Skeens 101. I will be using Yordan primarily as one-offs, and maybe I get to a 3-man stack here or there of Astros, but most likely not unless I get boxed out of some of the stuff that I actually like considerably more, like right-handed Diamondbacks or something like that. As we mentioned before with the Pirates, may or may not see Brian Reynolds come back to this lineup. Like the left-handed sticks a little bit more than the right-handed ones from the stuff I was looking at on Bloss. O'Neal Cruz looks like a good pick to click for a little spicy home run today. I'm not going to lie. Some of the stuff that I was looking at felt pretty good there. Nationals getting Montgomery. As I mentioned before, like Wood and CJ Abrams get drafted routinely. They're lefty. But if things break right for this lineup against Jordan Montgomery, maybe they only see him for 2 at-bats there. But, you want a contrarian way to mix and match Nationals when Nationals are quote-unquote bad chalk in quotations as to what I'm currently seeing. I mean, take Lane Thomas, I guess, at ADP. If you just, if you just want exposure to it, take him once, but then don't pair him with Abrams or Woods or something like that. Mix in a Hit and Harold or a Juan Yepez. I mean, Juan Yepez is who we wanted Hit and Harold to be this year, and he is actually coming through in a big way. Another failed Cardinal who has now found a sick resurgence after leaving the Cardinals. Pretty crazy, man. Pretty hilarious. And then D-backs, as I alluded to, one of my 3 favorite stacks. And I will be getting to Lourdes Gurriel more than the field today. And, Gabriel Moreno is an interesting one because he hits the ball so effing hard. The problem is he doesn't lift it, man. He doesn't lift it at all. He hits it firm. He hits it with like some good barrel rates and some good exit velocity, but he doesn't lift the ball. So when we're looking for isolated power and home runs and stuff, give me Christian Walker, give me Randall Grichuk, give me Gurriel, give me Marte over that, even if Moreno's hitting at the top of the order. Eugenio Suarez, you can do worse. And Corbin Carroll's ADP is probably not great at the moment because he is going to be batting down in that lineup versus a lefty. I mean, like Mitchell Parker, no gas can. He's been hit hard a couple times this year, but he's like a decent young pitcher. If we just want to use no stats, bro science, layman terms. Let's hop in a draft here. Do me a favor before we do so. There's 230 of us watching right now for the Road to Run solo run. Do me a favor, hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. If you are finding your way here via the X, 1 click away from the YouTube side there, join up, sub up. We got tons of fun stuff coming this week. I guess I should have led the show with this, but I was focused kind of on talking about, where Nez was at. We got loaded content coming to you guys' way the next 2 weeks. Then we're going to take a little bit of a break because Nez is doing family vacation and I'm getting married. So I'm going to take a little, 4 or 5 day hiatus. We're not doing a honeymoon immediately following. But, just between setting up the wedding and having family and friends in from out of town, want to spend some time there, obviously. But this next week and a half, really good stuff. We got 2 hours of football coming your way tomorrow. That will be on Davis Maddox's channel. We are joining Davis tomorrow for 2 hours. And then immediately following that, we will come over here and do paywall for the members, MLB Slate Breakdown. That one looks to be a good one, very similar to today, tomorrow. So that'll be it. That'll be very good. Then on Wednesday, we're going to have Off and On the Clock with Pete. And then we are going to service the Puck Bros. Morningscape Pod is coming on. DJ Mitchell and Matt Moody, both of them going to be coming here. I think that one's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern is what we currently have that one scheduled for on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we will have some form of show. I do not necessarily know what it will be yet, but it'll probably be football because the Thursday MLB slates have been bad. And we probably just want to draft some football, like just Nez and I, or maybe we bring someone on for that. And then I imagine Nez will do paywall on the Friday. Then the following week, Monday, we're flirting with the idea. We are flirting with the idea on Monday that it might be the hashtag list show. we're not taking the hashtag list lightly, guys. We are going all out for the hashtag list. I've been keeping track of names for a year now. I want to give everyone their flowers. I want to pay it the respect that it needs. And I know we've promised it, but it's coming. It is coming, and it's going to come before the football season. But we just got to we got to keep chiseling away both at the bits associated with it and with the actual names that should be on the list for that. And then Tuesday, I will be joining JJ Zacharyson. I got the call up to the big leagues there. Underdog's own JJ Zacharyson. I will be doing the Becoming a Best Ball Bro. We are going to convert JJ Zacharyson becoming a best ball bro into becoming a daily bro. That is what my intentions are. We are going to get him excited about BBM, and then we're going to be like, hey, as soon as BBM ends, buddy, you know what comes next, right? It's going to be becoming a battle royale bro soon. So that'll be a lot of fun. So lots of good stuff coming your guys' way. So sub up to the channel, sub up to Davis there, sub up to JJ. We're going to be all over in a bit here. And yeah, really excited about it. And incredibly fortunate that we are kind of in this circle with the people that, kind of respect our opinions a little bit. We're having fun doing this. It's awesome. Moonshot Monday. Here we go. Let's hop in. Let's rip at least one of these, and then let's do BBM. Oh, snap! Filled already. Let me give this one. Oh, a little who's in here. Boomstick 72. Boomstick 72. Get ready to learn MLB, bud. We got Brad. Spoiler alert. Might be in contention for the MLB GOATs. We got Best Ball Viper. Boom. Spoiler alert. Might be in contention for Mount Rushmore GOATs of baseball as well. Seed Mister. I mean, Seed is now all of a sudden, he has all of a sudden become, he's all of a sudden become in contention for MLB as well. Same with Crash Rich, man. Crash Rich evergreen that he is a good football player, but now he is come to the dark side and started to play baseball here, and it's no joke. I alluded to the fact that Skeens was my 101. I do think there is kind of a tier break at pitcher today. I will embrace the upside volatility of Nick Pivetta today in a big way. I envision him being my second highest owned pitcher. Well, I probably envision him being my highest owned pitcher if I can make it such. Just cost adjusted, he's probably like my favorite play on the slate. But like if you keep rolling the 101, I will just keep clicking Skeens because I want to get as much as I can today, despite the spot not being amazing. When are we streaking? We will streak right after this. Yeah, Basketball Viper, you're in contention, man. You're in contention. People are talking. People are talking. Beast Smurf saying he's amped for the dog bowl and the dailies. Me too, man. Me too. Battle Royale football season is going to be popping for us, man. It is going to be so fun. Yes, appreciate all the shouts in the chat here, wishing me congratulations on the marriage to be. Appreciate you guys so much. Community is nothing but generous around here. Much love to all y'all. Yeah, little Mr. Good Boy sighting in the background snuck on by there. Yeah, this is interesting. Paid saying Skeens is a tier, Gilbert's in a tier, then everybody else. I think I like Pivetta more than Gilbert today. That's my take, man. I think I like Pivetta more than Gilbert today. I like the strikeout upside. I know it didn't go well in Coors last time, though. Thank you, T-Box. We're up on the clock here. I alluded to liking right-handed Twins. I like right-handed Arizona. And I said I liked O'Neal Cruz as a pick to click. This is kind of foreshadowing as to where maybe some of our pick'em stuff might be headed. Let's do O'Neal Cruz, even if it turns in as a one-off there. And then let's do Christian Walker, man. I love Christian Walker against lefties. And he is just underappreciated. He's a phenomenal defender too. He might be, let me caution myself in saying this. I don't want to get too spicy with this take. Bryce Harper is the best first baseman in the National League? Question mark. Probably. Christian Walker ain't far behind, man. Christian Walker ain't far behind. Matt Olson hasn't been Matt Olson yet this year. Matt Olson's always in the conversation. Christian Walker should have been an all-star this year. He should have been there instead of Pete Alonso. Christian Walker is so underappreciated. If Christian Walker played anywhere other than Arizona, I think maybe he couldn't play in Colorado or one of these other smaller market ones to get the respect he deserves. But that guy deserves some respect, man. He deserves some respect. Interesting to see how high Seattle is going. Seattle went well against the White Sox in recent memory. I don't like the spot for them. They strike out a shit ton. Polanco might not be in the middle of that lineup. We know Julio won't be there. We know JP Crawford's not there. The bottom half of this lineup has been pretty gross, but yeah. If I'm fading two things today, I'm fading Nationals at ADP. That being said, I will mix them today because of what I previously mentioned about the slate. I think this is a very flat slate. I think if you play hyper exploitative today, it's a mistake. But that's just my interpretation of it. I challenge anybody else to play differently. I'd love to see it. But for me personally, Luis Robert Jr., because he's one of my favorite one-offs. But he does introduce a little bit of risk that there's a non-zero chance that he could be traded today. Let's do that. I alluded to really liking Vinny P too, but I don't think we can build a coherent, intelligent roster by adding Vinny P. It would be like a 2-1-1-1-1-1. So let's go Arizona. Let's go Lourdes Gurriel, who has lost the junior. Lourdes Gurriel no longer junior. We were going to pair the juniors in here. Let's go that Arizona route with the Arizona righties. Good isolated power versus a guy who has bad expected isolated power from versus right-handed. Did that make sense? That was a good one. Let's check in and see what everybody else is doing. We see Seed not taking the weather for granted here. And now that it's been switched to a yellow, he's aping in. Tommy Pham just got drafted, who just got traded. I don't know if we're just looking for a swap there. I don't know what we're trying to accomplish with that one. Let's scroll the F down and let's take Andrew Vaughn. Let's do a little reverse splitsy, right-handed power going up against Alec Marsh there. Get a little 2-2-1 build here. Pretty scrolly F downy in terms of pairing three guys with ADPs over 28 on that one. I don't want to bring this one up. Someone fill me in on what Trevolio's talking about in the chat. I am not familiar with the Austin Riley story. So if someone could fill me in, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah. I'm very curious there. Okay. Yeah. I think there's one. Okay, we'll go into football here in 1 second. Let's do the pick'em thing. I alluded to it at the start there. We want to start the streak. I will start the streak on mobile there. But there's a couple of spots I want to spice it up. Let's see what Christian Walker's doing for us. Christian Walker home run, only 2.5x, not the greatest in the world. Luis Robert, non-zero chance he gets traded, only a 2x for the home run. Wow. Underdog is on to the reverse splits of Alec Marsh, on to the tool shed being the tool shed. You want some other further indication that he's a good scrolly pick that you can get exploitative on today if you choose to. There you go. He's only 2x to homer in the pick'em lobbies. Who else did I allude to? O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz has a 2.75 to home run. A little bit better. Still not the best price in the world. Whom else were we talking about earlier? Oh, Vinny P. Vinny P. 2.5. Man, we are Underdog is on to us, man. They know that we are finding this. Let's mix and match a couple of these. I like the O'Neill Cruz. I like the Vinny P. Let's put those together. One BBM entry gets us 515. Gonna do that one. That one feels like the best price adjusted of the bunch, though admittedly, all four of those guys we just looked at are clearly popping for the Underdogs projection team as well. So maybe not the best value in the world, but maybe it's just that our takeaway is that they are good plays in our lobbies right now. I will listen to the chat on anything else they see fit. Baltimore was another one I was going to mention earlier, just as not being part of the player pool is tough. We got Stanton up in the lobby. Is there is he coming back today? That could be a little boost for some of these dinger teams that have some Judge Stanton pairings that they were able to sneak him through. Interesting. I did not know that little nugget as of yet because they were not on the slate, so I just did not pay attention to it. It's just boys being boys in the dugout with Austin Riley. Okay, I'll look it up later. Maybe we shouldn't say it. Maybe we shouldn't do it on the stream. You know, they got Isak Paredes in here already. I mean, reminder that baseball's different than other sports where like most teams are traveling every 3 days anyways, and guys do end up playing a little sooner than they would in other sports after being traded. Jake Fraley getting a 4.75 against Tyone. That's not crazy. Same with Friedel. If you want to attack the two lefties there. Pavetta strikeouts. Here you go. Here you go. This is what I was talking about with the Pavetta ceiling chasing versus the Logan Gilbert one. Logan Gilbert struggles a little bit with left-handed power, right? Is his mean projection going to be like better because he's less volatile than Nick Pivetta? Yes. Yes, it will be. He's going to project better as a pitcher. Nick Pivetta in this strikeout upside matchup, like look at this. 7.5 Ks, you're only getting 1.25. You're getting docked on 6.5 strikeouts. On a site where strikeouts matter so much comparative to giving up earned runs and stuff like that, let's get that one, man. Let's get that one. All right. Juan Yepez, man. I like that shout from T-Bear in the chat. A guy that we talked about earlier. Did I spell it wrong? Is it Perez? Yepez? Nationals. I was just copying the spelling in the chat. Yepez. There we go. This one threw me for. Oh, my bad. You spelled it right in the chat. My bad. I was like, Juan Yepez. All right. I like that. I like this. That's a good shout there. 3.75 with the Juan Yepez right-handed pop. Wow, Lane Thomas. Here, look at this. Lane Thomas, who is currently ADP 9 on this slate. His home run, granted, he steals bases and does some other things well, right? His home run pick'em is 4.25. Luis Robert Jr. going up against a pitcher with reverse splits in a better ballpark for right-handed power and with better hitting conditions today is a 2x. And he goes 20 picks later in ADP. Makes you think. Makes you think. The problem with this one is you can't pair them both together. So we do have to introduce a third one to this, which feels dicey. Doing 3 spicy home runs does feel dicey. I'm not going to lie. But the tool shed feels like the best one on here. It's not the best price. He just feels like my favorite. All right. Let's add the tool shed to it. And we max it out. That's 150, where one BBM entry will get our entirety of BBM paid for. I like it. Shout out to T-Bear in the chat. 2 guys we talked about earlier. Love the prices. I prefer the price. I mean, the Lane Thomas price relative to his ADP is crazy. Drop that one in there. Paid dropping some knowledge in the chat saying Adam Duvall, one of his favorites too. We can peeps that one. We could peeps the Duvall. 3x Duvall home run. Right-handed power plays worse than left-handed power in what is formerly known as, I don't know, whatever, American Family, whatever now. Milwaukee should have never renamed that park. They had no choice. Man. This is I like this narrative piece for Luis Robert hits a home run, gets traded in the middle of the game to the Royals, just flips dugouts. We've seen that before, man. Ichiro got traded, flipped dugouts to the Marlins. I'm not losing my marbles, right? I'm almost like, I'm not 100% certain. I want to say I'm 83% certain on that one. That Ichiro got traded and flipped dugouts. No, it was the Yankees trade. It wasn't the Marlins one. It was the Yankees trade. And he got traded in the middle of the one game. And then he came back the next night in Safeco Field as a Yankee for his first game ever, right? Someone's got to reset that one. Someone's got to reset that one for me and do a quick Google search because that one feels good. Okay, guys, the streak one, I want to take a little more time with. I don't want to use, obviously, the Spike'ems for the spicy pick'ems for the streak. I will post the streak one in the Deposit Kingdom Discord when I feel fit. All right, when I feel confident in the decision in which I'm making. All right. I think it'll be Vinny P, and I think it'll be Lou Bob. That being said, I want to wait until the White Sox order is out so that I know that Lou Bob's playing today. Okay. Yeah, that was weird vibes last night when Morel left the dugout. Yeah, he looked like he was crying. Yeah, there's no spice available for the streaks. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't want to play the spice on the streaks. You want to play stuff that is even odds. You don't want to be at a detriment when you're playing the spice, right? So I'll be looking for total bases and like Lou Bob fantasy points or something like that. Sorry, I didn't mean play the Lou Bob home run in that one. Royce, that's an interesting one. What's Royce at? I mean, if you do Royce Jeffers or Jeffers and I mean, Jose Quintana pretty good at suppressing like hard hit. Let me check that. Let me fact check that. Because at the beginning of the season, that's what it was. And the narrative was from the previous year. But we did talk about how the fly ball rate was bad and that it was going to regress positively for hitters, negatively for him. But yeah. Royce. You know what? Royce and Yepez. Where's the Jeffers one? Jeffers with a 3.5 as well. Mixing and matching some of these right-handed Twins ones feels kind of fun. All right. Let's do it. T-Bear's in my ear today, man. Terrence is on one. Terrence is he's a ball knower and he's in my ear right now. Yeah, you can. Okay, so this is good. Yeah, Nick's alluding to the streak stuff. Yes, you can only do one streak at a time, and it's currently only on iOS, I believe, because we can't do it on here right now. Or else I would just be doing it right now with this. But we'll save that one for a bit later. Let's hop in BBM. Let's rip a draft and then call our show here. What do you guys say? Did I miss it? BBM. We are now registered for our 69th BBM draft. 5 spots. 4 spots. 3 spots. The coveted 69th draft. Let's get it. Last spot. Soto walks as part of the pick 'em one. Stat came up yesterday when I was watching a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball there. Soto walks versus career strikeouts. 750 career walks to 630 something strikeouts. Truly incredible. Truly incredible for a player that young with that much power. Unbelievable. All right, let's do this. Friends and family. Foley. Biff. Perella. FF Dan. Beastper. Jump Free. Best Ball Viper. Come out of the chat. If you are Allergic 99, if you are Kobe's, if you are Jeepers, if you are Sticky Kush, come out of the chat. Say what up. Come out of the chat and say what's good. Don't make someone gift a membership to out you. That is the new play. The new play is gifting memberships to out the people in the chat. CMC goes 101 there. I'm thinking of topics. I'm thinking of topics for. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff with Davis. So tomorrow, there we go. Kobe's coming out. There we go. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff with Davis tomorrow. So I didn't want to decide on off and on the clock, kind of macro theme until we do that show to make sure we don't kind of like overlap. But I did put a stack that is somewhat hard to obtain unless you push it up right now, though I have seen it quite a few times in the 4-5, and that is Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid. Let's do this. Nez isn't here. Don't tell Nez. Brees Hall 107 over Bijan Robinson. Don't tell Nez. Don't tell him. Do not tell him I did that. I was listening to Hayden the other day, man. I don't know. This might have the best. They might have the best offensive line in football. They're gonna play slow. Nez already knows. Nez already knows. He felt the earth shake. Clipping this. I mean, they might have the best offensive line in football. They're going to play slow. But the one fact that really sat with me that I carried over was they were playing meaningless football games with backups to the backups to the backups of quarterbacks at the tail end of last year. And Brees Hall was going off and he was getting 37 carries in a game for no effing reason. If we're buying in to up-tempo parallels at Atlanta to years past of Rams style offense, if that's the narrative for them to be pass centric, for them to play a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, for that sort of thing, that does not bode well for Bijan being 20 plus carries a game, right? That being said, he could get like the Kyron style usage. We're splitting hairs here. These are 2 incredible players, right? I don't know. I'm flipping it right now. Maybe not for the entirety of the draft season. Maybe we just do it for fun once in this draft because Nez isn't here. I don't know. Guys. We are getting a big flip of the board from the 12 hole there. It is almost that time of year. It is almost that time of year where we start thinking about how insane can our flipping combos become. Chris Olave staring me in the face. We have a ton of Chris Olave thus far. I think he's probably one of my more higher drafted second round picks. If I was going to push someone up and do something funky, maybe the neighbors thing would be fun. Debo always goes here. Let's take Chris Olave. I do think Chris Olave is just in a better tier. I want Chris Olave over this grouping. I can't explain why. They have a bad offensive line. They just had their best offensive lineman retire. They have Derek Carr, who has been putrid and inefficient in the red zone for his entire career, except for the tail end of last year. Chris Olave is a stud. This is the bet on talent team, Brees and Olave. There's some narratives in the chat I'm listening to. All right, we got to talk about this. Flip the board here. Fifth goes Jonathan Taylor, Malik Neighbors. Not crazy. Not crazy. I mean, you're drafting Malik Neighbors at his ceiling, but so is Marvin Harrison every single draft over and over and over again. You're taking him at his ceiling. So is anyone that you push up to that spot. So why not flip the board with a dude who basically never falls to 36? I don't know. It plays better in a time box contest, and it's something that we've talked a lot about, how like time box combinations and combinatorial ownership associated with time box contests. Like we did it on stream a couple times with like some of those single entry ones where we did the push up, we did the CeeDee Lamb, and then we did the Devonta Smith, and we did the Hurts on this side. But you do introduce the fact that there's going to be better iterations of those combinations existing because people will get them with fallers, right? Now in BBM, has there ever been a Neighbors fall to 36? Did it matter? Will it be better than this combination? I don't know. We are getting into that territory of game theory season where people are going to start doing this shit. Because how much different of a bet? Damn, we wanted Cooper Kupp to come back. Cooper Kupp's my favorite third round pick right now. Kyren and Kupp. I'm going to start pairing them together in the second and third. DJ Moore feels like a tier break at wide receiver. I don't really want to do the Henry plus Hall thing. We could. I mean, I don't have a ton of Pittman. I don't have a ton of Tank Dell unless it was in the fourth round. Let's do this. We've talked about the Chicago thing, man. Would it shock anyone if all the Chicago players flipped ADPs with all of the Houston Texan players? Nope. The only thing holding that back is probably Waldron. Because we've seen it in Seattle be so blah. We saw what he did last year with JSN. Not utilizing the talent around him. But people forget, man, Texans were really run heavy. And they were really run heavy in the postseason, too. Granted, they had injuries. They had bad O-line play. But would it shock anybody if we go revisionist history, it's week 11 of the season, and we go, yeah, DJ Moore should have been going where Nico was going. Yeah, Keenan Allen should have been going where Steph Diggs was going. Yeah, Rome Odunze should have been going where Tank Dell was going. DeAndre Swift should have been going where Joe Mixon was going. Caleb should have been going where CJ Stroud was going. These aren't far-fetched leaps. These aren't huge leaps, man. I don't think it's crazy. All right. I will catch up on the chat in 1 second here. Had to get that thought out. We will make our pick. And I'll catch up on all the good people because there's some good discourse going on in here. Michael Pittman, Zay Flowers still on the board, who are not typically guys that continue to fall like this. Isaiah Pacheco, I think I need to get my exposure up, but probably not on a Brees at 7 team. Oh, I can finish my thought on the combinations one. Oh. I guess we take Pittman. I do not take a ton of Pittman. I have very little Pittman. Let's take Pittman. I mean, we could take Flowers and then hope Lamar comes back, but the problem is someone's probably just going to double tap Lamar Andrews, which brings me into my point. of the combinations that we keep aping into and the combinatorial ownership associated with these combos, we see over and over and over again rooms that look exactly like this. The first 4 rounds being all skill position players, and then all of a sudden, quarterback tight end stacking or quarterback plus wide receiver stacking over and over and over again. Jalen Hurts to the AJ Brown drafter, Jalen Hurts to the CeeDee Lamb drafter, Jalen Hurts to the Devonta Smith drafter. Then we see Josh Allen, and people hope and pray for Dalton Kincaid to come back in the 5th, and it rarely does unless you get an Allen fall to like the mid 40, right? We see this one all the time. This Kelsey plus Mahomes becoming the new meta to do this on the right-hand side of the board. Shout out Nez, hat tip Nez for being the pioneer, the revolutionary of that of such strategy. We'll give Davis his flowers tomorrow. But of the right-hand side of the board doing this and then just catching whichever wide receiver falls to go with it. Because one of the 3 seemingly always fall back to that side. And if we get bullish news, we get more of these camp videos of Xavier Worthy. We get more bullish news on Rashee Rice not being suspended or having a shorter suspension or whatever. Like, those are going to age like wine, right? But it's bringing me to these conversations, right? Where it's like, are we pigeonholing our own builds by doing this stuff over and over again? Because the McBride drafter basically always gets Kyler before the Marvin Harrison drafter does, right? Or, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. The value and onus we have put on stacking this year, and maybe this changes. Maybe we keep waiting for this influx of recreational players to come into our ecosystem, right? And maybe they're sharper than ever, or maybe they don't exist to the extent that we think they exist. And maybe people aren't going to start just doing naked to naked burrow like we've seen in the past. Maybe the community is collectively all staying in their lanes as if these are playoff format drafts with the stacking, that we are now just all funneling ownership to the same avenues. But if it's correct, who gives a fuck? But maybe it's not. I don't know, right? It's very interesting. Because we prioritize stacking at the front end of boards very highly, and we prioritize stacking at the back end of boards where we have like a back stack that we fall on. You know, Kareem talks about the Drake May one. Pete talks about the Bo Nix and the Denver stuff. You know, that we have these kind of patterns that we're all falling into. But when I say we all, is it just the stream draft community? Is it just us sickos? You know, we could take Keenan Allen here and set up a stack. I think I want to go ahead and take Dalton Kincaid though. I do not take a ton of Dalton Kincaid thus far, primarily because I'm falling into these same patterns of the stacking. And when I do the elite tight end stuff, which I do a decent amount, I am a proponent of taking these elite, in quotation, tight ends in the 5th round for like builds that routinely look like this. For whatever reason, the Kincaid is the one who I don't click over all that much. So let's fix that here. We're getting 2 guys that I don't click a ton. Actually 3 guys that I don't click a ton in Pittman, Kincaid, and Breece Hall. Let's see if we can land this plane with some unusual individuals that we've clicked on today. Yeah, here's one thing. Nathan saying his Bulldog was strange. I feel it, man. I feel it. My Bulldog was strange too. And it's because the draft is offset by the fact that you can only have one entry, and most of the sickos don't all end up in the same pool, right? Whereas if you're drafting BBM, you're bound to have some of these names who are in our draft currently in there with you, right? It's just the way it is. And that being a time box contest and only one bullet, I think guys are going, yep, full-fledged, get your guys season. Jump Free bringing it back to that Texans conversation. I have more Mixon than Texans wide receivers and more Bears wide receivers than both. So he hopes that comes out that way. I mean, I think that's an intelligent way to play it, man. I think it's an intelligent way to play it. I think if you look at the fantasy life projections and stuff like that, that's how they think that offense is going to run. CJ Stroud goes there, and we get what we wanted. So I knew there were 3 quarterbacks gone on the right-hand side of the board, and that allows us to get Richardson to come back to us in the middle rounds here. So we are doing something that we tend to do a decent amount here with a quote unquote elite quarterback and an elite tight end in the first couple first 7-8 rounds here, but we're still going to do it most likely with 4 wide receivers in the first 7 and or 8. This has kind of been the builds in which I've been gravitating toward. It just so happens in this isolated instance that the player names are different than the ones I've been gravitating towards outside of Olave, basically. So kind of a fun team, structurally similar. But yeah. Jason, my man, my third eye was wide open. I couldn't tell everybody why I wasn't taking Anthony Richardson there, because then someone would, they'd think, oh, Anthony Richardson, you got to keep that one under the vest until he comes back. That one, that's classic. That's some guy named Rotor Run in your last Bulldog. There you go. This is a good one, man. Nick, this is so true, man. Music scratch, then we realized we're all recreational players and we all stink. Absolutely, man. Nothing matters. We don't know shit. It's only the 5th time we've ever had this tournament. Herzig threw out a tweet this morning asking what people were at in their BBM stuff. Herzig famously done, hundreds, if not thousands of drafts thus far, but is famously waiting on his BBM stuff, backdating it a little bit here, but asking, what player you're kind of targeting to get over on in this next little bit. And a couple came to mind. Cup and Kyron as 2nd round picks, or as 3rd round picks before they become 2nd round picks. Those were guys that I've been targeting all season, and I'm a big proponent of getting to. Another one that came to mind is JSN, that Best Ball Viper just took there. I'm feeling me some JSN. All right, we be scrolling. Kamara with Olave. We don't take a ton of Kamara either. Let's do it. Who throws to the running backs more than Derek Carr? Offensive line might be bad. That means little dumps off to Kamara. The contract stuff becoming less of an issue. Doesn't look like a cut candidate anymore. They're going to pay him this year and then deal with it next year by the sounds of it and looks of it. They clearly have disdain for Kendry Miller. Let's do Alvin Kamara. Why not? Anytime you can get a running back going into his age 30 season, you got to do it. You got to do it. I think he's 29 this year. Last year of 29. He's got young legs. Not a guy I want to be overweight on, but definitely a guy I don't want to be caught with my pants down. I famously talked about how BBM comparatively to other people, I will be considerably flatter. But evergreen reminder that it's a risk tolerance exercise more so than a player take and or stance. I think there's enough in terms of structural edge that you can kind of overcome. All right, here you go. Potential out after those years, but they passed that date where they've already given him some roster bonus or sign money there. So he's going to get $10 million to play football this year. And then void these last years. So he's probably going to become a cut candidate next year, not this year, and look for the Saints to draft a running back. That kind of feels like what's going to take place, no? Travioli, our guy, was trying to set up that double stack with Josh Allen by pulling up Keon Coleman, and then Curtis Samuel goes at 80. Curtis Samuel goes alongside the James Cook drafter, though, so they're building out a little Buffalo thing as well. Wow, Johnson H's. Apologies. I am. I'm ready to be caught with my pants down. That's fair, man. That is fair. You got to take some stands, I guess. You definitely have to take some stands. Yeah, people do yell and scream when you don't have 40% of a guy. Means you got no takes. You got no takes, Nick. You got no takes, man. Let's take Jalen Warren here. Why not? Kind of feels like a little gap at wide receiver. All these drafts seem to go similarly. We could double down on the Chicago bet with Swift, but I think I like Warren a little bit more. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. That run scheme should be so good. Offensive line looks really good. I don't remember where ETR had them in their ranks, but I imagine it was in the top 10 somewhere, if not the top 5. For everything that people make fun of with Arthur Smith, at least he can design a run scheme, right? And we talked about it a little bit on the contingent upside episode. Had some good nuggets in there. Contingent upside episode of Off and On the Clock last time out, where, who would you prefer? Would you rather Najee or would you rather Jalen Warren if one of the two were to get hurt and they had that job all into themselves, right? Yeah. But this does feel like the running back glory hole, as Tom and Tyler so elegantly stated. We got 3 wide receivers through our first 8, not 4, which we can live with because we drafted them in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. We got Michael Pittman at a discount there, so it's not like we were doing the normal. Normally, this pick right here would be Kirk or Higgins or, Terry, something like that. So getting this little bit of a quote unquote value makes the 3 seem stronger than they normally would. But that's just a player take based on Pittman and Pittman's ADP, I guess. We see Jump Free pissing hard in a row here. Deontay Johnson, there's a guy I got to get a little more exposure to in my life. I've been opting for the Brian Thomas upside and the JSN upside, some Ladd upside in that area, more so than the Deontay Johnson. But there's no reason to think, especially after all the coach comments recently about Deontay Johnson, there's no reason to think Deontay Johnson can't outperform that tier and do exactly what Adam Thielen did at the start of last year. Like Adam Thielen alongside bad offense, bad quarterback play, and he was like wide receiver 5 or something for the first 5-6 weeks, something crazy like that. 100 yards every single week, PPR merchant. There's no reason to think Deontay Johnson can't do the same this year. Quarterback whisperer Canales, Bryce Young's ear. Why not? I got to get my Njoku up, I think. B-Smurf taking Njoku there. For someone who is openly bullish on the potential passing offense that is the Browns, I am low on Njoku and I am low on Amari. That needs to be fixed, I think. If you're going to be bullish on the passing offense, you should probably be bullish on the weapons associated with it. Tyler Lockett, a little 17 correlation with DJ Moore. Sutton introduces some backstack potential. Palmer gives us a Herbert out. Gives us some backstack Drake May stuff too. Let's take Joshua Palmer. Let's do it. Good Canadian kid. Good Canadian kid. Yeah. Deontay's been moving up. Yep. After all the bullish news, people are talking, right? Jump Free suggesting Deontay's a gross click, but Canales comment. Yep, exactly. It's exactly what everybody's seeing and reading and talking about the same things. And it's going to move the boards in predictable and projectable patterns. So if you have your ear to the street, you got your hand on the heartbeat of what's going down out here. You got those push notifications on for some of the camp buzz and stuff. you can anticipate the movements, and you don't always have to zig and or zag from them, because ADP does take some time to catch up. So, he's probably still what felt like a gross click previously, probably feels like still a palatable one. Now, if we talk about him jumping like this next tier, like I'd rather have the ceiling of the Kansas City guys. I'd rather have the ceiling of the outlier potential of the Green Bay guys, I think. I'd rather have the ceiling like that. But, if you just 1v1 Rome at Doomsday versus Deontay Johnson, well, depending on your roster construction, one of those is going to fit better than the other. Like Rome as your fourth wide receiver to shoot the moon on alongside this team, that's probably a better pick than if you took Deontay Johnson there. He's not looking for like Sticky Kush isn't looking for raw points right there. But when you start Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley in the first rounds there, and you have Devontae Adams as kind of like the anchor guy, you want some projectable volume and points. And the projectable volume and points come from Deontay Johnson and Nook. So, just intelligently constructed by you, Jump Free. Little things to keep in mind, right? That being said, it's all a fugazi, man. It's all a fugazi. It's a wazi. It's a woozy. We don't know who the quote unquote safe clicks are. We can project who they are, and we can think intelligently about who they are. But when it comes to actual play, we'll be reminded in a heartbeat when it comes Battle Royale week 4, and all of a sudden, we're taking JSN or we're taking Jamal Williams because he's the X receiver playing 90% of snaps, and they trust him to be out there to block. We're taking Jameson Williams for a 45 point or for a 55 point game total game. We're taking him as like wide receiver 8. Him and Amon-Ra are both going in the top 20 picks on Battle Royales in week 4. Like, would that shock anybody? No. But you can't draft BBM as such. It's just something to think through, right? Like, that's what range outcomes is gonna do. We're gonna flip these boards on their head. Okay. We're gonna have some decisions to make soon here. We could do the Caleb stack with DJ. Feels okay. There's kind of a tier break at running back here, in quotations, tier break between there goes Singletary. He was one of them. Spears getting a little bit of hype, but so is Pollard. Lockett comes back to us and gives us 17 correlation, and we're a little lighter at wide receiver than we tend to normally be. I think Tyler Lockett looks like the right pick for us here. We have no interest in Purdy or T. Lawrence on this team unless we do a backdoor Gabe stack. Let's do Lockett. We considered Lockett at the previous pick. Now we get him at 10 picks of quote unquote value. Say what you will about Lockett. There's room for all three of those wide receivers to feast. Ryan Grubb's offense last year, nothing but bullish reports right now coming out about Geno Smith. Ryan Grubb's offense last year, they put up big ass numbers for McMillan, Polk, and a Doomsday. Granted, Pac-12 football a little different. But I will remind people that when you look at macro stats for like some of those game environments and stuff like that last year, especially if you're trying to like look at the Washington stuff and talk about like Rome, talk about McMillan, talk about Polk, all guys getting buzz right now. They didn't play the fourth quarter of a lot of games. I can think of a bunch off the top of my head, but I'll pull something up on the side here. Get your Mr. Good Boys out. Tail is going crazy. He is back here. He knows what time it is. He knows it is lunchtime. Tough decision for Mr. Good Boy here. We hoped to have had some friends looking after him during the wedding, but the majority of them are coming, and the one couple that he was going to go with one of his best dog buddies with, they're away, and it can't happen. So tough decisions here for what to do. I'm a proponent of the wedding's on a farm. I'm a proponent of bring Mr. Good Boy. Let him run free. We're on a farm. There's a barn. There's horses. There's lots of room. I'm team Mr. Good Boy comes to the wedding. Crazy thought. Can you have Mr. Good Boy at the wedding? 150 people hanging out. Can Mr. Good Boy come to the wedding? She thinks no. I think yes. AD Mitchell for a double stack. A-Rich, not a quarterback that you traditionally want to double stack in a big way. We could try and push and get Downs to come back the other way. Let's do Austin Eckler. Let's push the AD Mitchell and Downs decision. AD Mitchell, kind of bullish on him being the deep threat. Could expand this offense. Anthony Richardson, good deep ball passer, dating back to college. That being said, I don't love him at his current pick. I would rather stack Josh Downs at 138 than take AD Mitchell. That's just me. But if we push them both, we shall see. See if we get one back. There's that Polk steam. Polk up to 131 now. Running with the ones. Potentially wide receiver 1. I don't know. I am not nearly as bullish as New England as a lot of people in this industry are. Brain's got a bunch of them. Like just them in general. He's been all over the May stuff. I trust his analysis. I trust his understanding of the game. It makes me want to get some more at the end there. Biff rips our heart out by taking Josh Downs. We talk too highly of him. This is a good friend. Best Ball Viper saying he'll come up. Take care, Mr. Good Boy. Legend. Yeah, currently Mr. Good Boy not at the wedding. He is the best man. Forever the best man. Considerably better man than me. Simple bow tie. That reminds me. Thank you, Brad. I have to go get bow ties for my nephews who are going to be walking Jello shots down the aisle. More like Josh Ups. I love it. GM, my friend. AD Mitchell comes back to us. We got to take him, right? We said it was the plan. You don't have to double stack Anthony Richardson because so much of his baked in upside is the fact that he's going to be a volume rusher. That being said, if you have the opportunity to do so, almost 20 picks past ADP, why not? Why not? We were doing it last year with Alec Pierce. Why not do it with whom we deem a more talented wide receiver in AD Mitchell, I guess. But therein lies the thought process associated with that. I mean, say what you will about Austin Eckler here. I think there's a ceiling still. I think there's a path. Maybe Nick Chubb has a better path to ceiling to be on this one. You could talk me into either of those. Gus Bus feels like the safest, but I don't think this roster needed like safe necessarily when you have Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Jalen Warren, all guys that we know are going to be playing a sufficient amount of snaps to matter. Maybe a contingent upside back fits this roster a little bit better than Austin Eckler, but Austin Eckler has some baked in as well. What if he's just not cooked? Anyways, that being said, that you take him here and then you dare the room to take, two Colts guys on the other side, and we would have got either at ADP value for Josh Downs or we get an ADP value with AD Mitchell on the other side here. So just thinking through how we're making teams, right? Gino goes on the other side there. Just of note, because we're thinking through who our second quarterback could be on this team. Aren't you worried about Alec Pierce? Aren't you worried? Oh. Yeah. No, Beast Riff. I am not trusted with the planning. I have a list of like 10 tasks that I'm in charge of, and I've had this list for 2 months, and I've done like one of them. I'm procrastinating here. Patty Millions only has the New England wide receivers because of May. I mean, that checks out. Because, okay, so going back to the point, and like why I just don't have a ton or whatever. Like, you really have to buy into Drake May starting a lot of games and whatever, because they have the lowest implied team totals as of right now. They have, they have no shortage of wide receiver depth. Normally, when you want to buy into like ambiguity at wide receiver, you want rooms that are shallow too, right? Like you want like cleaner paths. Like they're giving Juju Smith-Schuster like $7 or $8 million guaranteed. You don't think he's going to play? Like he doesn't even get drafted in BBM. Like maybe he's not worthy of getting drafted in BBM, but like just the fact that they have like KJ Osborne and they have him and they have like these professional wide receivers. They got Kendrick Bourne coming back from the injury. Like there's a lot of pieces that are being drafted that I don't know. I don't know. Just maybe shouldn't be in these contests. I'm thinking through second quarterback plan here. I think I'm going to take Cole Kmet here, shut it down at tight end. It gives us another little bit to that Chicago plus Seattle. It does layer on another wrinkle to the we're drafting guys we don't usually draft. For whatever reason, Nez is really in on Cole Kmet. We can talk through it with him. He had a lot of him in his 150 fast puppies. There, he was his highest owned tight end. I think he's just buying into the fact that the offense is going to be efficient and throwing a lot. Shane Waldron does have a history of utilizing tight end, but he does also have a history of loving Gerald Everett, man. He loved him. He's moved it with him everywhere he goes. Yeah. And this gives off Komet vibes. KJ Osborne is sacrilegious as wet dream. I did not know that. So there you go. I know that Crutches, his most stacked and drafted team is New England. I see the upside case. I see the bullish case in like changing of coaching, new fun rookie quarterback with some upside. I see it. I get it. I don't know. Maybe this is why I'm doing so many 2-2-6-8 builds with elite quarterbacks. Is like it just seems a little too far fetched for me. But there is always like every year, like look at the Texans last year. Like there is an offense that has a mold and shape like that breaks out, and that is one to pinpoint. Absolutely. The Broncos is like another one of that same one to pinpoint. If you want to go like the Canales route and spin that narrative of back end stacks, because all these teams that you're back end stacking, they're super thin. They are super thin, like paths to victory, right? Or they're clean paths to victory. Sorry, they're super thin bets, like just in general. So I mean, I respect it, man, but I can't see myself getting over on this middle tier of New England wide receivers. Is kind of what it's about. Like if I'm going to do the Drake May tack on, I'll do it with Henry late. I'll do it with KJ Osborne late because you can do it in the last two picks. Something like that. Like, I mean, Polk could ball, man, but he was like, yeah, both him and McMillan were like bang or bust, like playing off one another guys at UW. All right, let's think through. We could do Rodgers, but we can wait. Maybe we can't wait. We could do Rodgers and then Malachi Corley because we have Breece Hall, or Alan Lazard in the last round. I haven't seen enough people scrolling for Alan Lazard, another guy getting a lot of money who, Rodgers trusts. Let's take Jalen Wright first, and then if Rodgers comes back, we make that decision. If Rodgers does not come back, we're going to have to get creative here. We always got the out with Olave to Carr. Herbert's gone. Geno's gone. Geno went early. Yeah. Rodgers at 175. Malachi Corley at 186. That kind of gives us another secondary stack where you're comfortable with it only being a 2 quarterback build, I guess. Feels good. Yeah, I mean, like, he could just be the new Mac Jones. that being said, you could do a lot more creative stuff with Drake May, and Drake May can run. So, yeah, I don't know. Nick always makes me laugh. Saying he only likes it to confirm his priors and never adjust. It's good. The pound, baby. The pound's rolling through. Pound rolls deep. I saw the pound on Saturday night there. I popped away from the party for a quick second, took a peek at the old YouTubes, and he was live Saturday night at like 9 p.m. my time or like midnight Eastern. And I was like, this guy's grinding, man. Putting out the best ball content. Gotta respect it. Oh, man. Our guy Cullen doesn't. You don't have to apologize, man. You don't have to apologize. We got him on the way back. Yeah, Best Ball Viper, you got to come up, see Vancouver. Vancouver's a beautiful spot. Our boy Copper Prices is here right now. He's in Whistler there. Hoping to run into him on Wednesday at some point in time. Tried to set up a Monday thing that did not work. Rogers comes back to us. Feels like a good one. You could get super greedy with it and do like Ray Davis and shut down running back, but I think we're done at 5 running backs anyways. I don't think you need to force that week 17 correlation with the Buffalo stuff. I think Rogers plus Anthony Richardson feels like a good combo. You get the old with the young, you get the rushing upside, you get the steady, slow offense, milk the play clock guy, but is hyper efficient. And then you take Corley. If Corley doesn't come back, it's all good. I mean, I don't see a lot of people take him without Rogers for what it's worth. But if he doesn't come back, I mean, we can just entertain a little bit of Conklin and make it a 3 tight end build. Not the best idea in the world. There you go. There goes Corley. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think's better? Conklin in 16 to make it a 3 tight end build, even though we spent up on Kincaid, because we kind of got a luxury pick here because we did the anchor early RB and we did the early tight end and the early quarterback. And I think we've landed the depth enough that you kind of got this like flex pick where it's going to be like 2-5-9-2 or it's going to be 2-5-8-3. Where do we want to spend that flex? You could spend it on like a naked quarterback too. You could spend it on Justin Fields, tethered to Jalen Warren. Hope that the calf is enough in camp here for him to get some good looks with the first team and kind of usurp Russell Wilson of that job. Do I think it's likely? No. Do I think there's any other quarterback at the back end with as high a ceiling as Justin Fields? Probably not. Maybe Bo Nix. Maybe Drake May. We could also do Derek Carr with the Kamara Olave and make it a 3 quarterback build. That's another way to execute the same plan. That one feels all right. That one feels all right. Who's got eyes on the Underdog Twitter account for me right now? The baseball one. Has anyone else been traded? That's what I'm looking for. Chat's telling me to scroll the F down. Lazard in the last round. I respect it. +1 for Lazard. Wow. What if we scroll all the way the F down to Gibson? Last year's Hard Knocks darling. Everyone loved him on Hard Knocks. Let's make this a 3 quarterback build. And we're going to scroll the F down. Richardson, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. What do you guys think about that? We don't need running back. We don't love Mims. It's all a big hodgepodge of tier break now anyways. We're not going to take a 3rd tight end. Let's double stack Derek Carr here with Olave and Kamara. Give us some outs in the playoff weeks for some contrarian nature. It's a 2 tight end build. We're comfortable with that.
We got some Chicago stuff going down here. We could take a Giant as like a bring back off some of the Colts stuff. Get some week 17 there. What else? Giants. Got nothing else that correlates. Whom else do we have? Indianapolis, Tennessee, Giants, Denver? Question mark? Something like that. Can't remember the order other than Giants being in the last week there. Yeah, maybe one Giant wide receiver finds his way onto this roster, and then our scroll the F down is Lazard. Yeah, let's talk about some other scroll the F downs that are going down. Like you could do A.T. Perry and you could triple stack New Orleans, but I don't really want to find our way into like a back stack, triple stack with 3 quarterbacks. I think it's better to go double, double, double. Yeah. Holy Watson fall. Where'd Watson end up going? Watson ends up going at 184. Yeah. I mean, nobody really wants to take naked Watson because you can't really backstack him. I took him when he fell. I can't remember what draft it was. It was over the weekend, though. Maybe it was my single entry. We'll check one of the single entries after just to see. But I took him naked because he fell so far and the room was doing like a lot of weird 3 quarterback stuff. So I just took him and then I did Elijah Moore in the last round. Didn't feel great. All right. Giants wide receiver. We don't necessarily have to force a bring back. Jalen Hyatt or Slayton. New Orleans, we don't really have anything else to bring it back. Let's do the Lazard thing and then let's scroll. Let's double scroll. Maybe if a Giants wide receiver comes back to us, we just do that. It's the easiest click right now, that's for sure. Nick, my Claypool bag is empty, admittedly. I think Mac Hollins wins that X job. I'm team Mac Hollins right now for that X wide receiver. And if it's a rotationary thing, I don't know. I good Canadian kid, local kid from around here. Seen him before. Not really met him. Seen him, not met him. But yeah, I don't know. I know the camp stuff's been a little bullish. I know Mac Hollins is a bit of a weird cat with his hair and his cut up t-shirts and he's kind of a wild child, free spirit kind of guy. But yeah. My scroll the F down's been Hakeem Butler. Wow. UFL legend. Hakeem Butler. That is fun. That is fun. Hakeem Butler's resume. Panthers, Eagles, BC Lions, Edmonton Elk, Steelers, St. Louis Battlehawks, Cincinnati Bengals. Wow. There was a debate. Think back on that. The debates between Hakeem Butler, N'Keal Harry, and DK Metcalf. Big bodied wide receivers. They were going to break the mold at the next level. All right. Hyatt's the easy click. Andy's a bring back. Andy's a second year breakout. Andy's a burner. How many Giants wide receivers are too many Giants wide receivers? He checks all the boxes for us in the 18th here. It's just not that fun. It's just not that fun. What do we think about Jordan Whittington? Keep bringing him up. What do we think about the Hall of Fame game to our Jordan? Hall of Fame game. We are less than a week away from football. I guess we're a week away. On Thursday, we'll be a week away. No, we'll be... Yeah, on Thursday, we'll be a week away. August 8th, Hall of Fame game. Sad I can't be there. Was going to have been there. This whole marriage thing getting in the way. Fun draft. Fun draft for our 69th BBM. Fun draft. Kendre Miller just went undrafted. The bags are in shambles. The bags are in shambles, boys. All right. Let's check in on the Bulldog. That was the $75. Let's see. No, this is... I got boxed out. I did... Okay, so I was remembering correctly, but I did it with Geno. And I did the Geno Fant thing, I think, and took a third tight end just to make it correlated. That was my Bulldog. What was the other single entry recently? Corgi. Oh, this was a no-no. That's a no-no, as Pete would say. The Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, same game, double stacked quarterbacks from week 17. That's a no-no. A 2-7-7-2 that didn't start until RB26. Found ourselves to Jamal Williams as a scroll the F down there because of the Kendre Miller stuff. Double elite tight end in quotations. Dallas Goedert, maybe not in that narrative there. Fun team. I'm sorry, I can't find that Deshaun Watson one off the top because the way in which I label my teams would tilt every other man on planet Earth. I just literally write the date. I don't put anything descriptive about it other than this one, number 69. Special number, lucky number 69. All right, we're creeping up on 2 hours solo. I don't think I can stomach listening to myself talk anymore. But here we go. From the top, a 3-5-8-2 build. Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. Breece Hall, don't tell Nez, we did it at pick 7. Wow. We did it at pick 7 over Bijan Robinson. Alvin Kamara, Jalen Warren, Austin Eckler, Jalen Wright, who I'm warming up to since Pete kind of talked me into it. The projection models don't love him. They're not going to love him. This is a little gal brainy. You just have to, Dolphins, go Burr, Dolphins, go fast. We believe in Mike's offense. That's what you have to do. That's it. That's all the thesis is there. You got to put your fucking dunce cap on. Other side of the meme. That's what we got to do. Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman Jr., Joshua Palmer, Tyler Lockett, A.D. Mitchell, Allen, scroll the F down, Robinson for the double stack, Jalen Hyatt on the bring back for the second year breakout, burner, and then Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet. Decent team. Structurally, pretty intelligent in my estimation. A bunch of players that we don't normally take, and a bunch of players we don't normally take, all paired together outside of Chris Olave, Tyler Lockett, Joshua Palmer. Those are some names that we click on probably the most out of this roster. Maybe Jalen Warren as well. Not terrible. Not terrible. Not my favorite. I'm giving it a 6.9 out of 10 in honor of it being our 69th BBM. 6.9 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Let's tie a bow on it. 265 of us, almost at 2 hours here. Please come over to the YouTube side. A like, a subscribe, a notification bell. We're out here every single day at 2 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I believe 12 p.m. CST. So 1 p.m. Eastern. 1 p.m. Eastern on Davis Maddox channel. Both Nez and I will be joining there. we're going to draft at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 BBMs. I don't know. He likes to stay live for 4 hours. I don't know how he does it. Good for him. Kudos to Davis. Then on Wednesday, off and on the clock. Oh, no, sorry. Tomorrow, immediately following that, one of us, if not both of us, will do a paywall baseball only stream slate breakdown for that one. Then on Wednesday, off and on the clock with Pete Overzed, we will be back in our usual 2 p.m. Eastern time slot there. And then after that, a 5 p.m., another double dip. You're going to get double headers of the Badge Bros the next 2 days here. And we'll be joined by Morning Skate Pod there, Matt Moody and DJ Mitchell. We will do the Puck Guys a service there with some best puck. And we will talk through the best puck classic format on Underdog here. And then we will, Thursday is kind of up in the air and we will discuss in the future, but loaded next 2 days. So best of luck to everybody in the baseball streets. Best of luck to you as well, Brad. Best of luck out here. Justin Turner to the Seattle Mariners, now replacing Ty France at first base there. Mariners are going to be making some moves. They tipped their hand with that Randy Arozarena move that they're going to start doing some shit. And rightfully so, man. They should be buyers. Despite the awful spell they've been on recently. All right. If you're not playing on Underdog Fantasy, promo code MLB at sign up. 50% match deposit up to $250 USD to join us over here on the platform of the people. That's 10 BBM5 entries that you can be drafting alongside the Badge Bros by just signing up on behalf of just me today, which feels weird to say. Hopefully everything's all good with Nez. We'll be back tomorrow with Davis and then back here for the paywall. Everybody's favorite time of the show, the end. Peace. Love y'all. Thanks for hanging out.